example. So think about this. Ben Johnson takes over last year, and they have to overhaul the culture. They got to fix the quarterback. They need more weapons. They got to get the O-line right. I mean, they got like 8 lifts. But here, 1 year later, the Bears have become a team with specific needs. They need a safety. Boom. Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. And then they have 2 second-round picks. They're going to go get an edge rusher with one of those. Boom, boom, boom. You want to become a specific need team. Seahawks have a couple of needs. One was running back. Last pick, first round, specific need, nailed it. Philadelphia, we need to get an offensive tackle. They'll get that today. They needed a receiver. Move up and get Mekhi Lemon. You want to be a specific need team. And the Bears, isn't it amazing? A year ago, they were in the toilet. But I mean, think about this. New England last year spends $300 million in free agency, multiple needs. Now New England in this draft, New England's become a team like the Bears. They have specific needs. New England upgrade the offensive line. They're going to get A.J. Brown. And then you got a squad. So I think Dave Wannstedt yesterday on the show loved this Oregon safety. I asked him, what do you make of the Bears' needs? This is the guy the Bears were targeting, and Wannstedt, former Bears coach, wanted them to draft.
The guy that I got going in the top 15 is Thieneman from Oregon. Coach, I love this guy. There was debates between Downs and him. I'm telling you now, there were some serious debates who was the best safety because he's got a little bit more range. He doesn't miss tackles like Downs. This kid is tough, smart. I got him in the top 15.
Yeah. Look, it's a fantastic selection, and to land him at the 25th pick is terrific. But I think people are asking the wrong question. Will the Bears be a Super Bowl contender this year? Adding him doesn't suddenly make them one. They were already a Super Bowl contender last year, and I am standing firmly behind that. I am absolutely unwavering on this. If they had received better quarterback play, more steady quarterback play, they would have beaten the Rams first of all. And we saw what happened there. Who's to say you don't then beat the Seahawks and find yourself facing the Patriots? So again, I defended Caleb's inconsistent play because it was year 1 under Ben Johnson. So that's not me criticizing Caleb. I can't emphasize that enough. I feel like I always have to repeat myself because people misunderstand and think I'm saying Caleb is dragging this team down in a negative way. No, he was a small leak in the boat, but I don't expect that to be the case this year. I understand he didn't really get to develop as a rookie. First year with Ben Johnson, having to learn everything new, there's a lot on his plate. Yeah, totally understandable. And everyone was talking about how this defense was really hanging on by forcing all those turnovers, and they won't be able to replicate that. That makes sense, right? Typically, when you're elite, top of the league in sacks, pressures, turnovers, or touchdowns, you usually regress a bit. Every single year, if you have the best offensive line in the NFL, you could bring back the exact same group next season, and they most likely won't be the best again. That's just how it always goes. So whatever you excelled at, you'll probably backslide unless there's still room to grow. What this pick does, though, is reinforce that the Bears don't need to live and die by those turnovers anymore. They don't need an interception or a fumble on every single drive to field a competent defense. That's the reinforcement. To me, this team will still 100% be, if Caleb takes that step forward, then again, that's what I'm saying. You're looking at the 2018 Chiefs, the 2019 Chiefs. You're ready to explode. And as long as your defense isn't a massive liability like the Cincinnati Bengals, you're golden. You are golden. If there's still inconsistent quarterback play with ups and downs, then that leaves the door open. And to me, it doesn't matter how great your defense is because we saw against the Rams, both defenses showed up. It wasn't about who had the better defense. It was about which offense could make the play. Which team could drive down the field and score. Even the Bears needed the absolute definition of a prayer, a miracle, with Caleb making that throw. You want to get to a point where that's not the case, and it wasn't a defensive problem. So again, a pick like this obviously reinforces the defense and gives them some breathing room so they don't have to hear everyone saying, oh, they're not that defense. They won't replicate. what they did last year. They don't need to. They don't need to. And if Caleb Williams takes that step forward, becomes a more consistent quarterback, then yeah, absolutely a bona fide contender. And then it comes down to all the little things. Did you make that extra point? Did you make that 50-yard field goal? Did you convert that third down and chew up the clock so the other team doesn't get the ball until 1.5 minutes instead of 2 minutes and 3 seconds? Then it comes down to all those random little details that end up deciding a game more than any of us ever really realize or want to admit. Something as small as the Bears kicking a field goal early in the game instead of going for it on 4th down, those end up having massive consequences. So there's a lot to love and a lot to be excited about. And again, obviously we knew the Bears were going defense, and that matters. I know forever the Bears have always had this defensive identity, but make no mistake, when Ben Johnson is your head coach and Caleb Williams is your quarterback, and you're on the rise, you're not in the back half of your career. You're not in the relaxed, mellow version of your career. You are at a point where you haven't even scratched the surface of what you can do offensively. That is what makes this team a Super Bowl contender. That is what will make them either Super Bowl champions or Super Bowl losers. That's what it comes down to. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson and Caleb W. Williams. How truly special does this offense become? As long as your defense isn't a liability, you are golden. You are golden. That's just how I'm viewing the Bears right now. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Chicago Bears? How do you feel about this pickup? Again, when I live-streamed this, Bears fans were definitely really excited, really happy. Like Colin says, when you have specific needs, the draft can be pretty straightforward with no big moves required. I think sometimes when a team just drafts a guy with no drama, no trade-up, no flashy moves, it almost feels like, okay, cool. And then it really just comes down to, is he going to be great or not? We know in the first round, it's about a 50% chance. If you look at any of the guys drafted this year, it feels like all 32 of them are going to be stars. But you just don't know. So the rest is just wait and see. In terms of the culture there, what the Bears are building, and the personality that Dylan brings, I really, really love that. I think this was a pick where, look, I'm not going to dive into comparisons with others or anything like that. That's beyond my college evaluation pay grade. I'll wait and see what happens in the NFL. But when you're in the Bears situation, you don't want to feel like they made a mistake. That's kind of where I'm at with a team like Chicago drafting where they are. You just don't want to have that wait, what? Why did they do that reaction? And that's not what they did. So to me, at the end of the day, that's a win for their draft given the situation they're in. And like I said, the rest is just waiting to see if it hits. Everyone always feels like their guy is going to hit, but you have to wait and see if it actually happens. To be clear, I'm not doubting that he will. No doubt at all. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.